So we're currently doing the Macquarie Pass. Now, this is a story that involves struggle, triumph, but most importantly, a lot of tragedy.
We're at Temora Aviation Museum. I'm with Pete, the Deputy CEO of the museum. G'day, we are Chris and Tracy. We made a life-changing decision, sold up everything in March 2022 to live in a caravan full-time, to travel and explore Australia. Come along and follow us as we live and share our dream.
So we're currently doing the Macquarie Pass. Opened in 1988, the sign said, so...
Illawarra Highway.
Yeah. So we're actually making our way inland now, so had to cross the mountain range at some stage.
Yeah, doesn't matter where you are on the east coast, you'll have to go across the Great Dividing Range at some stage.
Yep, yep. So, yeah, we're on top now. Okay, now we've got to come down. Oh, great. I'm glad I haven't had breakfast yet. Oh, the stomach's not doing too well. Car sickness. Oh. Alright, see you soon. Hello and welcome back. We have taken a drive today to Junee. We're ticking off my interest and Chris's interest this week. So we're starting off with my interest, and so we've come to Junee, and I've actually been here 3 times before. This is my 4th time. Chris's first time. So where are we? We are visiting the Monte Cristo homestead here in Junee. Now, this is a story that involves struggle, triumph, but most importantly, a lot of tragedy. So I will tell the tale as we go along, but it is also known as Australia's most haunted homestead. So what are you thinking of that? So yes, I will tell the story as we go through. This is the entrance here, and the homestead's behind.
Save your battery.
So here behind me is the actual homestead. So the story is Christopher William Crawley purchased 2 plots of land here in Junee. He was a farmer. He purchased it to build a home for his wife Elizabeth and 7 children. So he built a hut at first, and then later a red brick homestead. And so for years, when he first moved here, he struggled big time, didn't have hardly any money to feed the family. And then in 1878, the Great Southern Railway line opened up, and he managed to scrounge enough money together to get a license to open up a pub across the road from the railway line. And this changed his fortunes, and he became a rich man. Now, he was loved around Junee. He helped the town out, actually was named one of the founders in the end, and was well loved by the town. But then the stories of lust come into it. Apparently, Mr. Crawley impregnated 2 maids. One of them actually, when she found out she's pregnant, jumped off the 2nd story here and landed on stairs somewhere. Apparently there is her blood stain somewhere, and so she committed suicide basically. The 2nd maid had the baby, but tragically when he was about 5 or 6, his name was Harold, there was an accident where a horse and carriage ran over him, and he as a result had some brain injuries. And it was a sad tale, and the local children used to tease him, and eventually he was found chained to his mother's bed, and he would scream all day. So when he was found, he was taken off to an asylum, but they say he died in the asylum, but his spirit apparently is here. Christopher Crawley actually died in 1910 from basically sepsis from a wound on his neck, and his wife Elizabeth didn't cope very well with his death and stayed here for 23 years, only left twice in that time, this building, and she actually built up in the attic a chapel, and that's where she died from a burst appendix in 1933, I believe, or 38. So yeah, there's been quite a few deaths and tragedies. Out the back is the original brick homestead, which was turned into servants' quarters and stables out the back. There was a stable hand boy. One day he was very ill and couldn't work, so he stayed in bed, and his master wasn't happy with that, so he thought he would teach him a lesson and get him out of bed. So he set his straw mattress on fire, but unfortunately he was that unwell that he died in that fire. So Morris's spirit is back there as well. So there's definitely a lot of tragedy in this story, and they actually do have ghost tours here Saturday nights, and you can sleep over and do that. But as you know, you don't have to be during the night to get experiences. So let's see if we hear or see anything. So these stairs here, unfortunately there was another death where Christopher's granddaughter was, as a baby, was being carried down by a nursemaid, and she dropped her and unfortunately died there. So in 1963, Reginald and Olive Ryan purchased the building and restored it to its former glory. Before that, it had actually been unattended for over 10 years and was vandalised, and all the building furniture and that had been taken out and ruined, so they've done a lot of work. Reginald passed in 2014, but Olive is still here, and we were just talking to her just before. So they don't get any government funding to keep the upkeep of this house, so they rely on the entry fees and paying for the ghost tours to keep the maintenance up. Yeah, so I don't know if you see that very well, but that is Mr. Crawley and Elizabeth there in that photo. And this is Olive Ryan, who's still here now. Now we come outside. So that brick building just there is the first, what they call the first original homestead. And the stables here.
That was the original homestead, 1876, then it became the servants' quarters.
The servants' quarters, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, in there in the servants' quarters is where poor old Morris was died on his mattress because he was too sick to get up.
That didn't go in, can it?
Not sure. His original dairy room. It later became a groom's room, then the caretaker's dwelling. So talking about a caretaker in the time when the place was empty after the last Crawley family member left in 1948. So it was empty for about 10 years and a caretaker was here. I can't remember his name, but someone had been watching the movie Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's infamous movie, and decided that he'd come upon the caretaker up on the porch and he shot him. And apparently somewhere in one of the shed doors is the words "die, ha ha." So that was from the person who shot the caretaker. So yeah, a lot of tragedy, a lot of death here.
Harold Steele. Was chained up in West Cities.
Harold, yeah. Yeah.
Was shot.
Yeah, Harold was the son that had the accident. Well, illegitimate child. Isn't that the actual name for a bastard? The child that's...
Steele?
No, the Harold, because it was the maid's child with Christopher. Okay. So when I brought my kids here when they were little, didn't tell them any history, but there was one building that they refused to go in. Oops, this is dark. This was the building, right here. The one with all the old carriages. So I'm not sure if one of these was one of the ones that ran over Harold, poor old Harold. But yeah, didn't tell the kids anything about the history of that, like I'm not going to do that to them. And both of them refused to come into this building, which was very interesting. But so far, haven't seen or heard anything. Really, well, carriages in here. So another one of the stories is when the Ryans purchased this place and took over in 1963. When they first brought in their belongings, they started to have some strange encounters, but their two dogs, I believe it was, refused to go anywhere near the homestead and ran away. And they'd gone out for the day, come back to the homestead at night, and all the lights were on in the homestead and they didn't leave them on. And then when they went to go in, all the lights were suddenly off. But they cannot have animals here. Apparently the Crawleys didn't like animals other than horses, and they've had animals over the time, chickens, dogs, kittens, and they've all been, let's just say, died in a terrible, terrible way, and they're not a natural way. So yeah, and I just asked Olive then, and still no animals. They just can't have them here. So I think this building here has been restored, or... Oh no, that's the one that they're going to have the ballroom dance in. They have an annual...
That's the ballroom and more carriages.
Yeah, they used to always have an annual ballroom dance here to help raise funds to keep the upkeep of this property. And they had said on their website that they had their last one in, I don't know, 2018 or 19 or something, but apparently they're having another one this year. or to help raise funds for them. But yeah, we can't go in there. But they did say that you are allowed to look into the windows if you can get a view through the windows, so we'll see. A little peeky peek. Can you see anything in there? Probably not. Just my my reflection, that's it. Since the back view of the homestead.
You think back in the day when it was built, this would be a huge property.
Oh yeah, that's why he built it up on the hill
yeah.
here. It was a status symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, house, the original house behind us.
Yeah, so this is the original homestead after the original like hut thing. This is what he built. And then, yeah, for status, he built the bigger, larger Victorian style homestead. And you're probably only going to see my reflection. I'll have to see in editing if you saw anything in that. But yeah, so had to come back here, had to bring Chris here. It's just, I love supporting the family because yeah, they don't get any funding at all for this. And Olive is getting on in her years now, and they're not allowed to actually have volunteers here because they're not covered under insurance. If something happens, it's basically at their own risk, and they're not willing to obviously do that in case. So yeah, it's a little bit sad to see the deterioration, but yeah, so if you're ever in Junee, absolutely worthwhile just for the story, the history of coming here. We're going to see if we can find the pub that Crawley had built where he got his wealth from. We already noticed that there was a building called the Crawley Building, and there's Crawley Street, so yeah. Whoops, my mistake. This is the original homestead that became the servants' quarters, and we can go in this one. And the top of it is what is now the rest of the mansion.
She's pretty dark.
Yeah. Oh, I got the light charged. Ooh, there's some light. Oh god, that dog scared the crap out of me then, Jesus. No, Mr. Lee. Oh, more scared, creepy dog. Nice. If that doll opens its eyes on the...
You're out of here?
No, I'll start talking to it. You might be out of here. There's a lockbox for you. On the old laundry. Yeah.
Pretty hard on the clothes back in those days, even to wash them.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the clothes would last too long going through all those presses and washing machines.
I remember my grandma had one of those. She used to use that windy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So across the road here is the railway station here in Junee. So it's a bit hard to see, but the pub we've confirmed over here is the one that Crawley had built and owned.
Junee Hotel.
The Junee Hotel.
That's a big pub.
And Olive confirmed, was just talking to the current owner of Monte Cristo, they owned this as well for a little while. So this is the original pub, and you'll see, depends which way, here it says Crawley's building on the building. So there you go, we had a lovely conversation with Olive, who is the current owner that since 1963. Unfortunately, her husband Reginald passed away in 2014. But yeah, had a lovely conversation with her, and it was yeah, really informative and great to hear her story. So yeah, if you're in Junee, definitely recommend coming for a look.
We've got a railway museum here as well.
Yeah,
the chocolate
I think
factory.
that's the one across the road, is it? Or it's a museum, I'm not sure if it's the railway museum.
Railway museum. But
Oh,
no,
okay, yeah.
Anyway.
There's a chocolate factory here too, so we might go there next. Here we are at the Junee Chocolate and Licorice Factory. Big building there. And what did we buy, Chris? It says happy birthday, so it's happy unbirthday.
Well, your birthday's coming up, so it's an early.
2-month early birthday present. So when we get into that, we'll show you what's in there. Alrighty, time to see what's inside our little bag of happiness from Junee. Alright, we have Rocky Road and another Rocky Road. Oh, 2 different flavours, dark chocolate and milk chocolate.
I guess I don't know which one you're going to eat.
The dark chocolate, yeah.
What's that
Honeycomb.
Ooh, honeycomb.
Oh, like in a block.
Oh.
Nice. Oh, my favourite. Freckles.
They're big freckles.
They're big freckles. And licorice. Yum. That's pretty good value, really. All that for $30.
$25.
$25.
$5.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, even better value. There you go. Well, now I'll open that and show what's in there. We can start eating. It's part of the food budget.
All right. This is one of the benefits of being out and about. You get to see the colours this time of the year around, all the different beautiful vibrant colours. We'll just show you what's out at some of these canola fields. It's just a sea of yellow.
Oh, it's beautiful. We'll put you out the sunroof. Well, it is officially the first day of spring today, and that's just the beautiful colours to look at there.
Yeah, we'll just keep going a bit and you can have a look out the window. It's just as far as you can see.
Just beautiful.
If you're coming to Temora and you want something a little bit different and unique to stay, I highly recommend staying at the Temora Aviation Museum Caravan Park. It actually has a caravan park with power and water and showers and that on the airport, right at the just to the right of the museum. We'll just show you on the drive down now. We're coming down into the caravan park.
So that's the Aero Club in front of us, isn't it?
Yep, Temora Aerodrome, yeah.
Aerodrome, yep. And a lot of these houses here all of them don't have sheds, they have hangars at the back of them. You can probably see as we go past. Yeah, so they're all hangars where they keep the aeroplanes.
It's called an aero park.
Mm.
Now this weekend there's actually, I think, a classical aircraft club flying happening here. It's just a meet. They come from all over. They fly their classic aircraft in, and they're going to be landing here at Temora. So tomorrow we're going to have a wander over to the museum, have a look around the museum, and hopefully see some classic aircraft. But looks like there's a few already out the front.
A couple have arrived. Yeah. So there's the footpath to go up to the actual museum there that will go to tomorrow.
And this is our entrance.
Yeah, down here is where the caravan park is.
So you're right on the edge of the airfield.
Yep. There's a couple of cabins just there, a bit hard to see, sorry, missed that. So you can watch the planes coming in and taking off. Yeah, a few have arrived. So there's amenities block just there. There's another one there when it's full. It's the other one opens up there, and then around the corner there's a camp kitchen just up there, and another amenities block there, and here we are just here. So here we are the next day, beautiful day. Now just to show how close is our caravan park is just there, and we see all the planes just here. They're on display this weekend. So all the warbird kind of planes, they're the ones that Chris is interested in. He used to come to Temora quite regularly and take photos when they had the big the flyover days. This one is not a flying display this weekend, but yeah, next door's the Aviation Museum. Chris knows all the story about who owns it, who started it and all that, so we'll get Chris to talk about that, but he's taking photos of planes at the moment, so we will get there, and we're just going to stroll over to the museum now and have a look. Here we are going across to the museum. So all the planes are kept undercover to help protect them. It's the way up to the airport runways and that there. So there's the entrance to the museum here. Risk warning to all spectators. Attending a flying display at Temora Aviation Museum may be dangerous, although unlikely an accident may happen. There you go. So there you go, the building that's now the museum was the original elementary flying school guardhouse. 10,000 people served at this airfield during World War II.
That's Orion. I believe they got one here flying. And this is actually airfield back when it was a RAF day with all the tiger moths.
Generally, throughout South Vietnam, and they were on standby for whatever mission.
Oh god, that's high.
That's an injection seat.
Good, you wouldn't be too wide the hips, would you?
That's why pilots are skinny.
Wow. So these are the planes that they're working on, is
That's
it?
actually a Martin Baker cell.
Yeah. What about the plane?
That's a Canberra bomber.
Canberra bomber.
Yep.
So because it's in here, they're working on it?
It's due for its scheduled maintenance and checks.
Okay. And what about the yellow one?
That's a Tiger Moth.
Tiger Moth. Okay.
Obviously they've got the cowls off the engine.
Oh yeah.
That's what used to be, I believe that one might have even been stationed here at one stage back when it was new and it was used to train the pilots.
Is this that
That's
one
it.
flying?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
On the screen right now. There you
I've
go.
flown over 100 different aircraft types, but on a nice sunny
It's
afternoon.
got some good information here if you're into these sort of planes and things.
Over the in the back corner, I don't know if you can really see it from here. I think it's what they call a Bulldog, which was a spotting aircraft. It's actually got an engine in the front and an engine at the back, so it's a pusher-puller type aircraft. So yeah, there we go. That's what it is.
Oh, there you go. Cessna. Nickname Oscar
Bird dog,
Deuce.
sorry. Bird, not Bulldog. Bird dog.
Close.
Back when my dad was younger, he actually served in the RAF for a while as a chippy rigger. Because his trade was a cabinet maker, chippy riggers worked on timber. Yes, they did have timber in the aircraft still back in those days, and he worked on the wings and stuff like that had timber in the airframes. But also, the aircraft behind me here, the Canberra bomber, he was actually at the Air Force Base when the very first one arrived in Australia. It was flown in by some American pilots. And he used to tell a story that when it landed, they put security around the aircraft, and even though he was a RAF personnel, he wasn't allowed to approach the aircraft or take photos. He did actually sneak a couple of photos out of his little tiny box brownie, which I can't put up because they're in storage. But he said a couple of hours after the pilots arrived, they walked back down to the aircraft and they proceeded to unload a crate of whiskey from the Bombays. The security wasn't there because it was a brand new state-of-the-art aircraft back in this time. It was there to make sure that the ground staff and that didn't pilfer the whiskey they'd sort of smuggled into the country and got through customs.
Whoa.
So yeah, but there we go.
So I've got the warbirds down under air show next year in October.
Highly recommend. If you can't make the International Air Show in Melbourne, this is the next best thing. It's fantastic.
Aviation Museum.com.au.
Let's see. I like those ones with the faces on. Yeah.
That's the photo we showed before. That's the Ryan that was in that photograph. The early photograph was one of those aircraft. This is what my dad used to work on.
This one here.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Wirraway.
Oh.
He used to work all the. It's got timber in the airframe and the tail. See the elevators here. It's actually timber.
You can speak up over the music.
Yeah, so they used to work on the stuff like that.
Mm. Mm. So this is a Cessna Dragonfly.
There's a bit of history about it just here. Counterinsurgency ground attack aircraft.
Okay.
It was originally a modification from a two-seat training aircraft that Cessna made, and they when the US called for a close support ground attack aircraft, this is what they modified and submitted to be in the contender, and they won the contract. And by all accounts, it was a very, very good aircraft at what it was designed to do.
Mm. I like the shiny one over here.
It's the Ryan, yeah.
Mm.
Imagine keeping all the place.
Oh yeah, polishing this guy up, wow. Yeah. So the good thing about this museum is in front of every plane there's information, and there's also like videos with information like this.
It's got some of the original, he's one of the original Spitfire pilots.
Yeah, so yeah, it shows all the history and all that, which we're not going to show because people need to come here and see it for themselves. But
One time when I was here, I can't remember which video it was, it might have been this one. A gentleman in the crowd was the actual pilot in the war of the Spitfire. They actually got him out, and
oh really?
they got him back in the aircraft, and he was so emotional, which you would be, to believe that he was sitting in the aircraft he flew in the war.
Wow.
We convert speed up to vertical height.
Here we have the Gloucester Meteor F8. And what was it, Chris?
It was the first operational jet to fly with the RAAF.
Wow. Pretty cool. Huh. Another one. Sabre. See inside the news. He knows his planes. Again, more information about the plane.
The difference here is this particular Sabre was a Commonwealth Aircraft Factory built Sabre. The Sabre was designed and built mainly in the US, and the Australians got a license to produce them, and they installed the engine they wanted in it. So it's actually faster and more powerful than the American one. So it's the only one flying in the world of this Commonwealth Aircraft Factory built. So unfortunately at the moment it's not flying because the ejection seat in it, which is still operational, they're having issues with supply and that, and we'll talk to the manager later on and we'll get a bit of history of the aircraft. But yeah, I have seen it fly. Awesome aircraft.
Oh look, Susie Q.
It's a boomerang.
A boomerang?
Yep.
Oh, where does it always come back? Susie Q. Yeah, there you go. Again, he knows his stuff. Boomerang.
This
First
is
and only locally designed and produced military aircraft. Wow.
Was built in 23 weeks. Only 23 weeks after being approved as a design.
Really?
Designed and built solely in Australia.
Yeah?
23 weeks from the paper to as it sits there.
Jeez.
It's like rockets on these mounts, the hard points here.
Okay. Yeah.
And what they do, they fire the rockets down into the ground, and they were like a smoke rocket to mark the targets for the bombers and artillery and stuff like that. So,
interesting. What's this little yellow one? Let's see without seeing the name. Do you know what that one is? The yellow one?
It's another Ryan, I believe.
Another Ryan? Let's see if he's right. Yes, he's right. It is a Ryan. Just a PT-22.
22 Ryan, yeah. It's a later version.
Ooh, they look funny with the bits off the
Cylinders, yeah.
engine.
Radial engine, yeah.
That's a bit too open for me. I won't get in that. They go upside down, you fall out.
And behind me we have an example of the only flying Hudson bomber in the world. So it's very rare, very expensive. So, and it still flies regularly here.
Really?
Yeah, they fly it on displays and that. They take it, because they're now owned by the RAF and maintained by Temora. It actually is flying a little bit more often because it goes to a lot of air displays around the country. So yeah.
At least that one's got seats inside undercover.
I think originally the Hudsons were converted from passenger aircraft.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I've got that look to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so we'll see. I'm not sure what the name of the club is that's here. Got a event this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have a look at the planes a bit more down this end. Ooh.
Look at this. Would you sit your butt on this thing? That looks like something you'd see in the Red Bull, what do they call it?
The one that's go the distance over the jump off the bridge.
The
That, on the, what's it called, the Melbourne Festival?
Moomba.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'd be getting in that. No. I like the ground too much and not landing on it from a high distance. All up there, so we're actually not allowed out there past this fence because we are not members of this club and don't have permission to be out there. We were told that if someone escorted us out, we could go out there.
Because it is an active taxiway and all that,
Yeah,
that's why you need to be escorted.
Yeah.
We're at Temora Aviation Museum. I'm with Pete, the Deputy CEO of the museum, and I've got a few questions to ask Pete and he can fill us in. So the basic history of Temora, the Aviation Museum, how did it start and where is it at the moment?
Yeah, it's always one I enjoy answering because there's lots of different stories out there, how the museum came to be at the museum, but the truth is, David Lowy, our president and founder of the Temora Aviation Museum, he had kind of established himself at Temora well before the museum was even a concept.
Okay.
He was back in the early 90s. He was actually working towards becoming the Australian aerobatic champion, which he achieved towards the late 90s. So he used to come to Temora quite regularly and it was a bit of a training base. And Temora was one of the few towns that actually welcomed David and his training buddies who came down here to practice. And and that's why he was kind of established at Temora before the museum was even a concept in his mind. Now David did have some hangarage at Bankstown Airport, and after he achieved the goal of becoming the Australian aerobatic champion, he then kind of turned his passion and his mind to warbirds, ex-military aircraft.
Yeah.
And he started acquiring just a couple. The Dragonfly was one of the very first, and I know the Wirraway was early on there as well. And they were based out of Bankstown. And when he was coming to Temora, he said, "Hey, Temora is a great climate and great flying conditions." So
certainly is, yeah.
Started bringing the warbirds, the couple that he owned at the time, to Temora. Built the first hangar here, which is now our engineering hangar.
Okay, yeah.
He built the hangar here to store both his aerobatic aeroplanes, which he was still flying, and the couple of warbirds he had.
Okay.
It was kind of from that the concept of the museum was born. And in that probably first 5 to 6 years, there was quite massive growth in acquiring additional aircraft to add to the collection.
Yeah.
And also, once you kept adding aircraft, we quickly outgrew the original hangar, and that's when the large display hangar was built.
That's what we've just gone through.
And that's what you've just gone through today. And then all the ancillary buildings, the admissions, gift shop, the building we're in right now, simulator room, used to be a theatre, and storage hangars, restoration hangars. So they all happened in a relatively short time, about a 6 to 7 year period in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So it was quite a rapid development.
I believe sourcing the aircraft around the world, I know it's too long to go into it now, but there's some interesting stories about where he sourced the camera bomber and other aircraft. Yeah. That was quite interesting in itself, how he got them and where he found them.
Yeah, and the Meteor was another great example from the UK. It was the wings were taken off, it was rolled onto a ship and transported to Australia and assembled at Bankstown Airport and flown down here. So, the Mark 16, it come across from New Zealand. I don't think that they still haven't forgiven us for taking that aircraft off them. But yeah, aircraft were being acquired from far and wide in the early phases.
And I believe now that David has now donated the aircraft, all of the aircraft, back to the RAAF.
Yeah, well, 11 of them.
11 of them.
Yeah, so 11 of the aircraft in 1st of July 2019. They were gifted across to the Royal Australian Air Force, which was a really neat thing because all those aircraft that were handed across were aircraft that served the Royal Australian Air Force.
So they operated them in their days?
Yeah, they used to operate them. So it essentially was their historic fleet.
Yes.
And it was a very unique deal for both the museum and the Air Force because they got a big chunk of their history in one gifted collection of aircraft. And what it done for the museum was it created a maintenance contract for our engineers. We have
so that's how it works now. You hang out and maintain the aircraft for the Royal Australian Air Force
under contract.
Under contract, okay.
Yeah, which is good for us, good for the museum, good for the longevity because to offset the cost of that, but more so to put the custodianship of the aircraft back into the Commonwealth, the hands of the operator who used to operate them during times of combat. We think it's great that the Royal Australian Air Force are recognising their history.
Also, this being an ex-RAAF training school as well too, back in the States, sort of full circle for some aircraft.
And that was another catalyst, I guess, of the museum and originally being established here at Temora was such a rich history it already had of aviation and number 10 Elementary Flying Training School.
The Yellow Tiger Moth, was that an actual aircraft that was stationed here? So it's actually still, it's funny, it's
full circle.
Full circle. It survived and ended up back where it sort of started.
Yeah, so VHUVZ was used to operate out of this airfield back in the 1940s when it was a basic flying training school.
Yeah. And
fast forward many years and it's here it is operating out of the same airfield and putting pilots through it who are training them as they would have been trained back in the day.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the old photos of the amount of tiger moths sitting on the apron back in those days. There was a lot of tiger moths.
97.
Amazing that it's actually one of those is still here today. It's just awesome for the history. What have we got going here? This is new. I've been here for a long time ago. This is all new.
It is very new. So new, we haven't sort of launched this to the public yet. So it's great that you guys are getting a sneak peek, not operation, but what we have, it's 3 customised Warbird full motion simulators, aircraft simulators. So we've got the Spitfire here, a Mustang and a Kitty Hawk over here. The Kitty Hawk can also be converted to a 172, a Cessna 172. These are through the generosity or the New South Wales State Government program. Not fully funded, but significant investment by the New South Wales Government, as well as the museum. We just think it's great that we are able to offer a different experience or a new experience.
Yeah, it's not something you'd see in any other museum.
Well, it's not, and to our knowledge, I don't think you'll find a customised Warbird simulator anywhere in Australia. No, these were built in Texas, in the US, shipped across here. So in the US, yes, they do have some Mustang and Kitty Hawk simulators in the US, but it was the first Spitfire that company had built.
Good to see it in operation once they get it going.
It will be, yeah. So we've just employed a new simulator operator and we're just working through the onboarding of how we're going to operate these. But we're really excited about what they're going to bring to the museum and just a whole new dynamic.
They'll be very popular, no doubt.
Yes.
So, very good. All right, thank you very much for your time. That's just a brief history of Temora. It's an awesome place to come and visit, some awesome history. Even just we're staying out at the caravan park here, which is attached to the airfield. A unique caravan park. Quick stroll across the museum, so highly recommend come here. You have a day on the lake, I believe, coming up shortly. It's a flying display out at the lake just to the north of Temora. And then you've got your big air show when?
So Warbirds Down Under is scheduled for October next year, 2024. and a day at the lake, which is a brand new event for us. We're quite excited about it. And, we've got new simulators. We're trying new and different things here, and a day at the lake is a new concept for an air show. It's I would describe it as it's a day on the green. Which I don't know if you're familiar with that concept, but at a winery, it's fully licensed. We'll have a lot of foodies there. We've got a concert. We've got 3 different acts. Right, starting the day with some chilled acoustic acts, right through to the feature act, or the main act is the Baker Boy Band. They're a highly polished 7-piece band. So I would describe it as a day on the green. Concert with an air show attached to it. So the air show component will be happening throughout the day in little chunks, not in one big chunk. So
do you know what aircraft are going to be flying those days, or is it just depends on what's up?
Yeah, no, we've almost got the program finalised. It'll be all the aircraft, all the serviceable aircraft here naturally. We've got about 20 all up, but we're talking Mustangs, Kitty Hawk, Spitfire. I've got a PC-21 from the RAAF, which will be great. All the aircraft here, the Tiger Moss, Wirraways, Hudson. We've got a Beach 18 coming, which is a little bit different and unique. Windjills, Harvard. Don't have that right on me, but
that's fine. Just the guess. So it's a good idea for those who are interested in that. Highly recommend. It's not that far from Sydney. I think it's about 5 hours, maybe 6 hours from Melbourne. Easy drive. Highly recommend. Awesome place, awesome town to come visit. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
And hopefully see these up and running shortly.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is the event that's happening on the 21st of October. And on the other side, so we'll get close to that QR code. You can put your phones onto that, purchase tickets, very reasonably priced, $65 an adult, $25 for children 3 to 16, children under 3 free, family $140. And just a bit of information there about what they're going to have. So looks like it would be a really good day out. And sitting at the caravan here, can't see it because we've got the screen up, but you can hear, I'll just move over, literally there's the planes just there. So we'll just show you where that day on the lake is going to be. So that is the airport there, basically where we're staying at the caravan park, just back there. And here is the entrance just coming up.
Lake Centenary.
Lake Centenary. It's just here on the right. So I got there now to show you, but we were actually told on the day when that day on the lake is happening, they're actually going to have shuttle transport going to the lake from the caravan park, so you will be able to drink and not drive and do it safely. So here is the entrance here. Beautiful, well maintained park. Well, the whole area is just beautiful, really.
If you're into jet sprint boats as well, they've got a jet sprint boat track here just on the right.
Yes.
There we go, day at the park. 3rd Saturday in October.
Yep.
The day at the lake, sorry.
Day at the lake.
Day at the lake.
We're at the lake. So we'll see the lake in a second. Yeah, I've showed them the signs. So beautiful setting.
Plenty of viewing areas.
Yeah.
The airplanes come across.
Yeah, so the airplanes will fly across the lake, And like Chris said, we'll probably show better in a second. Yeah, the V8 super boats they have here.
9th of September, the next meeting.
Next meeting, yeah.
Which is next weekend.
It is, yes. So they have barbecues there. Oh, look, they've even got gym equipment. And over there is where the, what are they called? Jet boats.
Yep.
Jet boats.
Jet sprint boats.
Over there.
That's the track for the sprint boats.
Hmm.
And directly behind it is the airport.
Yeah, so literally not far at all to go to that event, so yeah. But yeah, well maintained. Like the whole area, whole of Temora, and even when we went to Junee, it's just well maintained. All the grass is manicured and beautiful, and yeah, it's just a real treat to visit this area actually. Yeah, it's great. Alright, see you whatever we decide to do next.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Chris.
Hang on. What? No. Sorry. Today, I'm going to interrupt.
Uh-oh.
I'm taking over. Come and see what I cook tonight. Alright guys, sorry about the interruption, but there's about 2 recipes that I do and do well, and I don't let Chris cook them. So I thought I'd let you guys in on my secret recipes. So unfortunately it is Cooking with Tracy tonight. So I'm going to be cooking a pasta, a carbonara. And so I've already got water on the boil here for the pasta. So that's on the go. I better put a fan on, otherwise we might steam the cells out. For 2 people, I generally use half a packet of pasta. I've just got the spirals here. That is usually enough for a serve each plus leftovers for the next day, because carbonara is brilliant the next day. So just stick that in. Hopefully I'll make the opening a bit bigger. There we go. Put that there for putting the bin later. So while that is starting to cook, I go through the ingredients. So I have about 4 rashers of bacon here. This was a very small onion. Normally I use probably a large or medium onion, but we only had 1 small one left. Then we will need a small container of cream, some mushrooms, shredded cheese, Parmesan cheese, garlic, pepper, and I just put some butter in the bottom of the fry pan when I start cooking the onion and that. And I have forgotten 1 ingredient. Just a minute. I thought I was ready. And 1 egg. Alrighty. So first we'll put the pan on. Yeah. This one, get that going on high heat. And we'll stick the onion and the bacon in there. And so I put some butter in the bottom. I like butter and not oil, it just gives it a nicer taste.
By the way, I'm going to interrupt. By the way,
you interrupted mine.
When we can and we're around in Aldi, we've been buying this product. Brilliant. It's really good, like better the margarine and that, and it spreads well and it lasts a long time. So anyway, back to not cooking with Chris, cooking with Tracy.
I know, it sounds funny, doesn't it? I'll try do your trick and get it everywhere, shall I? I probably will. I normally don't, but now that I'm on camera I will. Okay, I think I can take that lid off that pasta now. It's boiling really well. Alright, so basically just heat this up until we get it nice and caramelised and the onion's nice and clear, so that'll take a few minutes. So once that's getting to that stage, we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so this has been cooking for a while. This is on the smaller, slower burner because I've got the pasta on the bigger one, so it's taken a while to get to this stage. Now we'll add some mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, obviously don't add them. I like mushrooms. Give it a bit of a stir through. Now I'll add some minced garlic. We like garlic. 2 heap teaspoons. Oh, it's getting hot over this stove. Alright, just mix it all through. Alright, so we'll wait for the mushrooms to be cooked and then we'll come back to the next step, which includes some secret tips. Okay, so the pasta is done, so I will take that. Oh, that's hot. Hang on. Take that off the stove. Get it in the sieve to stop it from cooking further, and then I can use the larger one for here. Alrighty, now that the mushrooms are pretty much mostly done, now we've got to actually turn it right down, add 1 small container of cream, this is where we need now some shredded tasty cheese. That's about half a cup-ish.
My measurements.
Yeah, that's it. I've been around here too long. Some parmesan. Some shredded parmesan here. So that makes the sauce nice and cheesy and creamy. Mix that through. Start getting that melted. Now add some pepper. Can you pass the... Oh, excuse me. Crack some pepper. Always got to season, so I don't add salt because obviously with all the bacon in there we don't need extra salt. So a lot of people get to this stage and go, this is really thin and how am I going to fix this? So an Italian mama told me once, or nonna, however they pronounce it, the secret is egg. So we crack an egg in there, but quickly keep that stirring around so it doesn't scramble and cook in one spot, but it makes it beautiful, extra creamy, but it thickens the sauce up. And that's your secret ingredient to thickening up that sauce and making it beautiful. Oh, my thing's gone out. Oh dear. There we go. That's not going to thicken up without the heat on it, is it? Turned it down too far. Okay. So, now that the heat's back on, I realise it had gone off. Turned it down too far. We'll get that thickening up now. Beautiful and creamy. What have you got going over there, mister?
I thought you were going to do garlic bread as well.
I was going to do garlic bread, yes.
Sorry, I can't help myself. I had to turn the oven on.
I'll just start interfering with your videos, eh? Alright, that's getting thicker. And it will thicken up a bit more, so but now I'll just add the pasta into that. Stir it around. Is the heat on? Yes, I'm just double checking the heat is on. And now that's thickening up real nice. And there we go. Stir it through. It's thickening up. And this is ready to serve as soon as some yummy garlic bread is done in the air fryer in a few minutes. So that is my pasta carbonara. And sorry again for interrupting this, but there'll be another time that I'll interrupt as well, for there's one other recipe that I do that I don't let Chris do. That's my recipe. I'll do that at some stage as well. Alright, so quick, easy, which I like. Haven't used too many dishes, unlike someone else. And
not cooking unless you use all the dishes in the caravan.
So I will have this up on the website like we say for all the other ones. I'm going to get it out and stand in the fridge or something. I am boiling hot now. And we'll go and have dinner, and Chris can do the taste test.